After months of anticipation and no small amount of hype, Titanfall has finally been released into the wild. If you ask anyone who's paid attention to the video game industry, they will all tell you the same thing. Titanfall is the difference between Xbox One starting strong or falling flat. Was Microsoft's bet on Titanfall a sure thing, or a gamble based on desperation?
Not for long.
For those who aren't aware, Titanfall is the first game from Respawn Entertainment, which comprises of a veteran staff that created the Call of Duty series. Their first effort doesn't stray too far from what has made them successful in the past. Titanfall is an online-only, first-person shooter that puts players in the roles of agile pilots and their 30-foot titans. The basics of the game are familiar and mirror most other popular shooters on the market. From shooting and reloading to creating your own custom loadouts, Titanfall hits every item on the FPS checklist. What makes Titanfall unique is what it does different from its closest counterparts. Players are fast and agile, and they can double jump their way skyward as they run across walls and rooftops. Then there are the Titans. Titans are definitely the highlight of what makes Titanfall special, and not that there hasn't been giant robots in the game before, but because how they are implemented into the gameplay. Few things are more satisfying than running down a street, leaping into a second-story window to shoot an enemy pilot, ascending to the rooftop, and watching as your Titan comes plummeting down to Earth. Early on, the wide breadth of what is possible can seem overwhelming. Many will find themselves running around on ground level until they get comfortable with traversing the maps as they were meant to be. And how players use the environments to their advantage is what separates them. And Titanfall excels at giving players flexibility and options in tackling any given situation.
Nice shooting.
Being that Titanfall is a game published by Electronic Arts, there were some concerns it would suffer from similar issues as Battlefield 4. Luckily, Microsoft is handling Titanfall servers, and through the first few days, their Azure cloud is performing perfectly. After 60 matches in roughly 9 hours, I've only encountered a single connection issue, and other than being dropped mid-match that one time, Titanfall has performed flawlessly from a connectivity perspective. Frame rates have stayed smooth and steady at 60 frames per second, and only occasionally hit a slight dip that can briefly disorient players. If nothing else, Titanfall is the most polished online shooter I have ever played.
You're unstoppable.
As I mentioned before, there is no single player in Titanfall. There is a paper-thin plot that plays out over the course of 9 campaign missions, which are essentially multiplayer with introduction cutscenes. You will need to play through the campaign from both the IMC's and the Militia's perspective to unlock the Strider and the Ogre Titans. Side note, the Ogre is awesome.
Pilot, your Titan will be ready in 2 minutes.
Titanfall does have a few shortcomings that hold it back from fully realizing its potential. While the game is fun and has 15 maps to play on, there is a noticeable lack of content in other areas. There are only 3 different Titan chassis, and a very rudimentary assortment of weapons, abilities, and perks to choose from. There are also only 6 game modes, none of which are unique to Titanfall. The Last Titan Standing is just a twist on Team Deathmatch with no respawns. When compared to other top-tier shooters on the market, this lack of content is significantly less than the competition. A major plus is the burn card system. Burn cards are a one-time use item that give players a superpowered ability or a piece of equipment. Players are rewarded with burn cards for completing various challenges and actions. A burn card will stay active for an entire match or until you die. Make sure you use them wisely. Also, there are several hundred different kinds of burn cards, and players are limited to only 25 in their deck, so don't try and hoard them. Titanfall does almost everything right, and it is the shot in the arm that gamers needed to fall back in love with online shooters. What is most exciting is that it's just the beginning of a new and soon-to-be successful franchise. I can't wait to see where Respawn takes Titanfall next, through DLC and its inevitable sequel. Titanfall is the first truly great game of the next generation, and it is the most polished and fluid shooter that I have ever played. The art style and its quality map design is second to none. All of that more than makes up for the bare-bones game modes and the small amount of weapon unlocks. If you enjoy fun, you will enjoy Titanfall. I give Xbox One's first flagship game a 9 out of 10.
Let's pull it together, team.
You are outnumbered 2-1. Reactor eject.
You're unstoppable.